So, my sweet Katie. Katie is the organizer of the festival. You know, she's always there helping. She also ran the festival in New York, which is a very nice festival. You guys have the opportunity to come next year. You're already in. You know that. Come, it's
Oh,
very nice. We do in Times Square. Pretty nice. So, and it's related to this one. So, anyways, this one is online. So,
yeah.
yes, we live perfect. So, Katie, you can do the introduction, please, and then let's get jumping into the first question. This is you
Hello,
because you want.
my
Go
name
ahead.
is Arias and I'm from New York City.
So, guys, introduce yourself and tell
Yeah,
me about the
okay.
film.
My name is George. Yeah, okay, okay. My name is George Markozashvili. I am filmmaker from Tbilisi, Georgia. Now I'm living in Vienna.
Ah,
Nice. Welcome. What about you,
hi.
Patrick? Introduce yourself in your film too.
Yeah, I'm Patrick. I'm from Germany and live near Hanover. And I'm a filmmaker specialized on directing and editing. And
Hmm.
yeah, I'm the director of Goodnight Killer, my first feature film.
And Georgie is the
Nice,
director of the
nice.
Borough, huh?
Yeah. I'm admit I studied journalism and business, but cinema has been always my passion since childhood. Yeah, and I am a director, producer, actor. Yeah, but
Oh.
it was without budget, and we had to wear multiply hats, myself included. Yeah.
Like all of us, we're
Yeah,
independent
yeah.
filmmakers. We're independent
Mhm.
filmmakers. Patrick also been
Yeah.
through that without budget, surviving. Like all of the films we have in the festival, which are really good. So, guys, the idea. Let's start with Patrick. Goodnight Killer. Where is this idea coming from? Why do you decide I want to make the Goodnight Killer?
Yeah, actually, I was always a fan of thrillers and especially dark thrillers or horror movies, and I never really
Because
had
your
the
your your brother wrote it, right? Malte.
yes, my
He's the
my
writer, right?
brother
Okay.
Malte,
Walk us a little bit.
who's playing Mickey, is
Mickey,
also the
correct.
screenwriter of Midnight Killer, and he came up with the idea during COVID because there it was a very uh, special period, and
Yes.
so especially for his job, and there were some problems. He couldn't work there anymore, and so he had some time, and he used this time to write the script of Goodnight Killer. And a few months later, when he was finished, it was in May 2021. He
Mm-hmm.
pitched the idea to me and our friend Oliver, who was the cinematographer of Goodnight Killer. And we had a very cozy round. And my brother came up with the idea, and we were just on fire. We wanted to make this stuff. And then each step came after another, and we started filming a few months later. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Wow. How many pages, Patrick, was the script, if
the
you remember?
script was and had not that many pages actually. It were
Mm-hmm.
about 62 pages. Because
Good.
there were some passages without dialogue which are stretched during a
Mm-hmm.
film, create atmosphere. And if you have some
Mm-hmm.
establishing shots or some
Mm-hmm.
yeah editing stuff going on,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to be much longer than the original
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
script.
absolutely.
Although we already shortened some stuff to get a good timing. And during filming the Goodnight Killer, we also changed some scenes and passages. Because
Mm-hmm.
I must say or confess, we didn't shoot it the conventional way, because actually you shoot a film about 25, 26 days in a row, and then it's
Uh-huh.
over. But we couldn't do this because of the money, of the lack of money.
Here you go.
Yeah, that was very
Yeah.
so we shot it blockwise, mostly on weekends, because all the actors and all the helping hands behind the camera, the makeup artists and
Mhm.
lighting guys and our audio recordists, they did it for free. We couldn't pay them because, yeah,
Mhm.
we needed the money for the food, for the locations, which were very expensive, and for
Mhm.
yeah, for some technical stuff,
Mhm.
like yeah, optics and some
Mhm.
special
Right.
lamps. And so yeah, we started shooting in August 2021, and then we were finished on May 2023. So it was
Mhm.
about more than 1 year and a half we were shooting, most times weekends. Some parts were bigger blocks.
Wow.
We had 2 big blocks of a week roundabout. It was when we had holidays. So that's how
Mhm.
make it happen. And yeah, we were very happy when we had our last day. Happy because we could finalize the shooting, but on the other hand, we were a little sad as well because the shooting was very fun. You really
Mhm.
saw the people did it because they wanted to make it. They
Mhm.
did it by heart, by passion, and not for
Yeah.
money. And yeah, that was a very nice experience. So yeah, we were happy that we could finish it, but on the other hand, we were a little sad that the shooting was over.
Yeah.
Georgie, you hear my guy Patrick? He goes through that pain too, like all of us, you know. It's not only us, you know. Look at him. So
It's
tell us,
struggle.
Georgie, tell us,
Yeah.
yes, where's the idea coming from? You write it with Nika, right? You guys,
Yeah.
two writers. Tell us
Yeah,
the
true,
why
right.
the story.
Yeah. The inspiration came from the old movies, Warriors and Assault on Precinct 13. It is my all-time favorite thriller movie. And also mix of personal experiences, is emotionals that had been building up over time, and some of the story is based on really events that happened many years ago in Georgia. 3 witnesses were kidnapped and murderers, and just me
Wow.
and Nika write the story that's it's fictional. Yeah. First and foremost, I wanted to show that it's possible to make a great action, dramatic movie without a budget. Yeah, as long as there is a passion and teamwork. Yeah. Second, I aim to break the traditional structure of main and supporting characters. In my movie, I did not
Yeah.
want to or feel anyone secondary. Each character has their own journey, and the audience to sense that every story matters, even it's not told all the way to the end. Yeah. And actors, most of them were newcomers or people who had not experience on acting. But only Otari is experienced actor. Yeah, I did not want to. I do not want to perfect performances. I wanted new faces and realness. So I assembled non-professional actors, and result speaks itself. What we did, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And
Yeah.
and yeah,
Wow.
and because of minimal resources, we used creativity instead of money. In the middle of filming, me and my cinematographer had to sell our cars to finish the movie. It took
Wow.
around 40 days, but the whole
Hey,
process. And the whole process, editing, VFX, and such things took many months. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's it. We got Avi. Avi, welcome. Thank you for
Hi.
joining us, Avi.
Kevin!
Hello, hey,
Avi,
Katie.
Avi's in
Hello.
Canada,
Nice to
in
meet you.
Canada too. Avi is one of the big gorillas in the industry. You know what I mean? What big gorillas? You know, he ran the industry. This dude right there that you see. So
That's very
he's a good
kind of you to
contact to
say.
have,
Very kind
guys.
of you to say.
Avi is a great contact for all of us to have. So Avi is the director of Humphrey. Avi, introduce yourself very quick, everybody, that you join us now, and then we continue.
Yes, my name's Avi Federgreen. I'm a producer, director based in Canada. I've produced over 70 feature films in Canada. Humphrey is my directorial feature debut. I'm also a distributor in Canada, but I also distribute movies in the United States. And that's me.
Yeah,
Nice to
thanks.
meet you.
That's Patri and Georgie. All right, there. Patri's in Germany. Georgie is in Austria right now.
Nice.
So, Avi, so I jump with you because we just started, right? I mean, we only have 20 minutes more probably. The story, why do you decide to make the story? I already know because we made in Tampa,
Yeah.
but they don't know. All right. So yes, where is this story coming
So, I
from and
mean,
why?
I've been producing movies for over 30 years. In 2019, I decided to direct a short that gave me the bug that I wanted to direct a feature. This feature originally came to me as a script that a female writer director approached me with to produce it. This was back in 2015, and we tried getting the script in shape. We couldn't, so we shelved it. She moved on to do other things. I moved on to do other things. And after I directed my short in 2019, I decided I wanted to find a feature to direct. And I remembered this script and I reread it and it spoke to me. And I said, this is the film that I want to make. And it took me from 2019 to 2023 to make it happen. And we shot it in the spring of 2023, finished it January 2024, and it's been playing festivals around the world ever since. And it's played over 30 festivals, won many prizes, and it's of all the films I've ever made, been involved in, this is my favorite.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks, Avi.
Cool.
Great films here in this. We missing the Mexican director that's supposed to be here, but I don't know, maybe they mistaken the times. But really cool films in this lineup that we have here. So, guys, let's go back to the how much was the process of pre-production of your films? Do you spend a lot of time on it? I mean, we can see already there are many years behind there. But in the moment when you start the pre-production, you know, that moment that you say, okay, how long was the process and how easy or difficult was? Hey, Patri, can I start with you?
Yeah, well, pre-production was not lasting from the day of Malte was pitching us the idea of Goodnight Gear to the first day. It took also a little longer during the process we were shooting because when we started to shoot, we still haven't had all the actors casted. So because we shot blockwise, we concentrated on some chapters of our film where we already had casted our actors or actresses, and for example, some supporting roles or one main character which appears a little later in the movie were casted during the shooting process. So it was a little tricky to keep don't get too disturbed by all this stuff we had to organize. So it was sometimes a little messy because not only because it was COVID when we were starting shooting, but also we couldn't find producer or production assistant which could support us during the entire film. We had some production assistants which were changing during the entire process. For example, in 221, we had one nice production assistant which didn't have the time in the next year, so we had to replace this position the next year. So this was yeah, little tricky, but yeah, it was yeah, it worked out actually. The problem was that I talked to my brother and I just wanted to focus on directing, but in the end, my brother and I were the main producers or the line producers of the movie. I was writing all the call sheets as well, and that was yeah, the part of the job which I don't really like because it's not that creative, but it has to be done. So yeah, I would say it's typical for indie filmmaking, I think.
Obviously,
Yeah,
welcome
the
to the
party
club.
part, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
unless
but
you're Avi, you know, and then we are in another level, then it's a different thing. But for us, you know,
yeah.
Georgie, no,
Yeah.
the Avi. What about the process for you for your pre-production of the film? I asked
Yeah.
this question because it's quite important, actually, the pre.
Yeah.
That's what I found.
We spent an entire year preparing before the filming began. During the movie, we focused on building props from scratch, scouting and securing shooting locations, and gathering all the necessary equipment. I was personally involved to sourcing weapons. Somewhere borrowed from my friend, some I rented, and some was real guns. Yeah, we paid close
Yeah, you have a
attention.
lot of guns. Oh my God, and a lot of people, man. I
From
don't know how you
metal
do that.
to bazooka. Yeah, we paid close attention to detail in every aspect on the production. All the gunfire sounds and the foley were recorded after the movie, yeah, in post production, yeah, edition. I was lucky. I have a great team. Most of them were my close friends or artists I truly admire. I want to especially highlight my cinematographer Vladimir Gedevanishvili, which I think it's one of the best in Georgia. He's also a friend of mine, and we share a common vision. We have a big plans ahead. Yeah, that's it.
Nice. Avi, what
Nice, very nice.
the pre-production for you before home
I mean,
free?
when we got financed, which was probably the summer of 2022, we spent from August till April in prep. We
Wow.
had already, it was mostly one location, so we had secured that location because the lead actress of the movie donated her house to shoot the movie in, so we had that. The most of the time was spent on shot listing, timelining each shoot day, also working with the production designer on what the production design of each room in the house was going to look like, finding some key props that were prevalent, like the hawk and the typewriter and things like that we had to find that were appropriate for the storytelling. And then we rehearsed with the actors in the house so we could block and figure out how we were going to shoot. We had some days where we only shot one scene, and some of those days were like anywhere from 12 to 16 pages of dialogue and in one scene. So it's choreographing the actors' movements and where the camera positions were going to be and how we were going to light it. And all those things were pre-discussed at length before we went to camera. So we pretty much, once we had day one, we knew exactly what we were going to do and when we were going to do it. The only issue we had was in shooting the finale, we had to change the date because of inclement weather. So we had to flip days near the end of the schedule in order to avoid rain. And so we did that, and that worked out for us. And then in post-production, the editing process was basically from the time we were assembling the film as we were shooting, and we had about 10, 11 weeks of editing where we, the editor and I worked on it, and then we sent the screener out to a bunch of directors and editor friends of mine who could give us their input, and I respected their input, and we used a lot of their ideas, and then we did another cut, and then we shared the screener with people in the age group that we were targeting for the film, mostly women 50 and over, and we sent, they knew nothing about the film, we sent them a screener and we sent them a questionnaire, and they filled out the questionnaire and sent it back to us, and we used that for our basically final cut, and then we screened it just for ourselves so we could watch it, make some last minute changes, and then we picture locked, and then we had a bunch of his effects that we had to do, and just some cleanup and fixing like boom in shots and things like that to make sure that technically our film was completely solid and we weren't going to get any quality control issues once we delivered the film to the broadcasters and things like that. And that was it.
Nice.
Cool.
So now that
Nice.
Avi was talking about a post-production, let's jump there very quick. How long was the process of the post-production for you guys for Part 3? How was that? And how do you decide the final cut that we're seeing in the festival? Do you
Yeah,
also share feedback? How was that? Tell us a little bit.
yeah, I would say the post-production process lasted about, I have to think, because we had some issues to find sound guys who do the sound editing, dialogue cleanup, and final mixing. If we had them before, I would say about 1 year of post-production. But the good thing was that I was already editing while we had shooted some scenes and chapters of the film. So after we had our last day of shooting in May 2023, it took me about 1 month and a half to finish the final edit. So the edit was finished in summer 2023, but all the other stuff like sound, post-production, color grading, and VFX took some time. So I would say in some summary about 1 year, maybe a bit more.
What about Georgie?
Yeah, post-production took, oh my God, 2 years. Yeah, because there were a lot of stuff of VFX, Foley, all sounds, as well as sounds, yeah, voiceover, and everything had been recorded from scratch in studio, and the colors and the stuff. Yeah, we took 2 years in post-production. It was really hard times, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you told me in Tampa your post-production was quite quick, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That's impressive. I was really impressed when
from
you
the
told me
time
that.
that we picture locked, which was the end of August, we basically finished the film by end of the year. We had a few
Wow.
fixes. We did a QC at the early January that we spent January just fixing a few technical issues that was going to come to cause us problems once we delivered to broadcasters and things like that. but yeah, essentially we finished it in like 3.5 months
Wow.
Not-
Man.
from Picture Lock.
Yeah.
From Picture Lock.
Yeah.
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 But I
Amazing.
mean, listen, I work with the people I've been
Yeah,
working with in post. I've been working with for over 15 years. They sort of they finish my sentences for me. When I say something, they'll finish it, my sentence. So they're top of the game, and they are very familiar with indie film, and so but they're complete pros. They will not do it half-assed. They will make sure that the quality is exceptional. And like you look at my movie, and you would never know that I made it for so little money. Like that's the sign of a good indie film, is that people think you've made it for like a couple $1 million when you really made it for less than $500,000, right?
True.
So
Hey guys, let's go back to Patrick. So what was the usual question, but it's nice to hear what was the hardest part of making your film, besides that you did it in such a long period of time, right? That's actually difficult to take so long, which is no weird. It happens in many films, so it's no nothing strange actually. But what was the hardest part for you think, making the Good Night Killer?
Yeah, I would say the post-production was some of the hardest parts because, as I already mentioned, it was very difficult to find sound designers and sound mixers who do it for free. And so we had to spend a few months to look for someone who's able to do it. Because a feature film is a lot more work than a short movie. And so I would say the sound production was, for me, the hardest part of it.
Me too, Patrick. Sound part
Yeah,
is way, really
it's
hard.
awful. It's sometimes awful because we wanted to avoid re-recordings because when I was younger, I did a short film, which was also a little bit of gangster movie, and we had to re-record some scenes, not some scenes, almost half of the film was re-recorded because the dialogue was recorded too low. It was not loud enough. You had some background noises, and the sound was better at the end. But for me, the original sound you record on in the scene at that moment is it's better from there's all the emotion which the actors and actresses bring in the scenes, and if it's re-recorded in studio, maybe there are some exceptions, but most of the re-recordings are not as good as the original sound you recorded on on set. So I was very into it, and it was one of my orders not to re-record anything. And there was one scene which was very difficult because this was the trickiest scene of the movie. It is a scene which takes place in a garden. And we thought, okay, we're not shooting in Berlin, we're shooting on the landscape side of Berlin, which is pretty calm. It would be easy, it's at night. But we didn't know that a few kilometers away from it, there was a big festival or a big party. And so we had in the background, always party music and different party music. And we couldn't tell them to stop it. So I was little worried about the scene. Maybe we should re-record it. But at the end, our sound designers and sound editors found a way to extract this. And I don't know how they made it. Maybe a re-recording would have been better at the end from a sound quality. But it was such an intense scene why I'm so happy that we could keep the original sound of
Mhm.
of the scene we recorded on set. So that was the most difficult part, I think,
Mhm.
to
Sound, right? Sound
make this
is
scene.
key in a movie, man. Hey,
Yes.
Georgie,
Yeah.
what's the difficult part of making the
Yeah.
burrow, you think, for you?
All all said Patrick. Yeah, it was for me sound. Yeah, because of minimal resources, we have to. I have a great guy for sound engineer, but he has work with personal jobs, and we have to wait for him, and also to shoot future movie is very difficult. I have to shoot two short movie 10 years ago. It was a vampire movie, and second was slasher movie for from Stephen King's short story. Yeah, but shooting the future movie is crazy. It's crazy. No one believed me. Only my guys, my staff, they were kept me going when I was angry and
Mhm.
falling. Yeah, but I
Wow.
think sound is really hard to, yes, tough.
Yeah.
I'm agree. All sound,
Yep,
man.
me too.
What about Abby? What do you for your film Home Free? Was the challenges part?
The story was very personal for me, so every day we were shooting, there was a lot of crying on set.
Mm.
Oh, I can imagine.
Including
Yeah.
including me. I cried a lot. And
Mhm.
we had an amazing ensemble cast, which is always helpful, and the performances jump off the screen. The hard part was in editing. Basically, how do you, because it's a very sad movie, how do you take, lighten up some of that Debbie Downer kind of storytelling and add a little bit of lightness to the film? And within the confines of the film, I always felt that after we had a big, difficult scene, that I chose to take some of those home movie type of scenes and put it in between the one scene and another to add some levity, a little bit of lightness in the storytelling. Because if I didn't, it was just going to be from beginning to end sadness from beginning to end. And
Mhm.
I didn't want that. I wanted to add an ability to get the audience, to know the characters when they were much younger and they were together,
Mhm.
united, and that through the evolution of the film, we bring them back together again at the end of the film. So it's full circle. And
Mhm.
by shooting those home movies, which was a decision that I made almost before we started shooting, that we were going to shoot these home movies, and the only intention was to show those home movies in the garage scene. But then, because I
Mhm.
overshot all these different elements of the flashback stuff of them as kids, I was able to use it within various parts of the film, which was a true save. It saved the film, in my opinion. So.
Mhm.
Also,
Wow.
the VisFX, the biggest VisFX shots that we had were these hawks, and
Mhm.
I will tell you that I will never use a VisFX hawk ever again. You don't, you can, it doesn't matter how good your VisFX artist is, you're never going to be able to make a hawk that looks exactly real. And obviously,
Mhm.
we didn't have real hawks that were trained. We knew somebody that had them, but you can never rely on
Mhm.
animals or children when you're
Yeah, they're
making
unpredictable.
movies. So we didn't want to take that risk, and we would never have gotten our day if we would have shot real hawks. Um, And my only regret was on the final shot of the movie where we see the Hawks fly over and we look down on them looking up at the Hawks. I think I should have shot their POV of looking at the Hawks, and it would have been a better looking hawk in the end. But you know, you're always going to make a decision that may not necessarily be the right decision. And we as filmmakers, and I think we would all agree, is that when we watch the film, every time we watch the film, there's one part of the film that we look at and our eyes just have to look away because we're so angry
I can't stand it.
with the decision that we made that we shouldn't have made, or
Mhm.
something didn't go right on the day or whatever, and we had to live by that moment. And
Yeah,
that moment exists within the film, and it's like seeing a piece of dust on the floor. You can't keep walking by it and not pick it up. It's the same kind of thing. You'll see that
Yeah.
that moment in the film every time you watch it, and it's going to drive you crazy.
Yeah, but I think it's also a good thing if you watch your latest movie, and there are always a few parts where you think you could have done it better. I think
Mhm.
this is a very important
Yeah.
part of develop for the
Yeah.
next project.
to evolve.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
you wouldn't.
It's a learning
Yeah.
experience. It's a learning experience.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
And
That
for
is-
Georgie, it's
Avi-
probably that he killed too many people and used too many guns.
Yeah.
That's
Georgie, what's
true.
the name of your film?
Sorry,
Burrow.
What's the name of your
Zaburo.
film?
Burrow.
Zaburo.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it. I'm very, as a distributor, I'm interested in seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Avi is there checking everything. Huh? Great film. So all of three of you, guys. Unfortunately, yeah, we have to jump to next. I need to prepare the Swedish lady to do her thing with the Swedish filmmakers. Very nice to have you, Avi,
For
Georgie,
having-
Patrick. Thank you for joining us.
Hi guys, thank
Thank
you
you.
so
It was very
much.
fun. Nice to
Okay,
meet you.
Just
Nice to
before
meet
you guys
you.
go,
Have a
let's just
secret
get
dance.
a quick snapshot. So a smile. Who got the best smile here? I think Katie, right?
Totally.
Look at her, right, Avi? Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here, guys. Three of you, huh?
Bye, bye,
I
bye.
appreciate
It was a
you.
pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Bye, guys. Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye.